So this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and as I showed you yesterday, during the month of Elul, we're going to look a little bit, as much as we can, into the Shaar Hagilgulim. It's a very deep subject. Yesterday we learned that this is the 8th Shaar of a series that was published by Rabbi Chaim Vital, was put together by Rabbi Chaim Vital. So here we have something extremely, extremely deep. As we're coming to Rosh Hashanah, and we realize that the new year is going to come and there's going to be a revolution. As I said in the last year, is that the rabbis consider this world a world of wheels. The world of wheels. Imagine a world without wheels. So here we see that everything is working around. The concept of a Gilgul is a concept of a wheel. A wheel going around and around and around. But here it's talking about our souls. So at the beginning or the very end of the shir last time, he started talking about different qualities of the soul as an introduction. And now we're going to open the Sefer up. We'll actually read the first Hakdama. And we'll read it Mitzvah Shem with the Matuk Medavash at the same time. And remember that the Zohar itself, or excuse me, the Shaar Hagilgulim is the dark print. The light print is the words of the Matuk Medavash, sweeter than honey. Banaski the Farish, so let's come over and try to explain that. Masha Amr Chazal, the rabbis say in this medrash, Kamisha Shemus Yesh the Nefesh. The Nefesh, the soul, has 5 different names. So Ratzalom means to say like that, L'chelik Aruchni Sheba Adam. Now we're talking about just the spirit that makes you be alive. Now we're really basically, like I said, just a lump of clay. But something makes that be alive, and that's the ruchnius in it. So he says, Ratzalomer, the chelik aruchni sheba Adam and nikrach b'klalu b'shem nefesh, who is called, in general, by the name nefesh. The man is called nefesh. Nefesh is the spirit within of a man. Yesh chamisha shemos, Shekol echad mechem hi bechina acheres zul lamala mizul. There are, in fact, though, 5 different levels of this nefesh, 5 different levels of the 5 different levels, as we're going to see. So he says, Yesh chamisha shemesh shekol echad. There are 5 different names, that each one of them, hi bechina acheres, is a different aspect, zul lamala mizul, one more refined than the next. Let me tell you what their order is from the bottom to the top. Now, let's just go back over what he said before. He said that the nefesh of a person, which is a person's soul. So when we say something refers to a human being, but that one soul actually has 5 parts to it. Let's say it like that. The first part is called nefesh, then is ruach, then the neshama, and this is chaya, and then is yechida. These are all as if you imagine that you were took in the light of nefesh and you could refract it, and you saw that what was inside of it actually was 5 other lights, or 5 lights altogether. Vein safeki lo nafo kriyas hashemas and niskarim b'mikra b'chizdame. Don't think for a minute that these words came out just by accident, or just accidental words that just we happen to have hanging around. And that's it. They're just happenstance. Because they're not, in fact, synonymous. Like when we use, he wants to let us know that when we use the word neshama, it means something specific in Kabbalah. It doesn't mean the same thing as nefesh or ruach. So he said, Ella heim chamisha bechinas chaluka zumazuba. There are 5 different variations. They're different one from the next. We call achas nichras b'shem hamiyuchad law. Each one of them is a special name that is designated for it. The fi bechinasa umedregasa, according to its level and its aspect. Amnabda. So he says, know this. Ki mahus. That is the form. Ha'adam, atzma, who ha'ruchnius ha'shebasel ha'guf. That is if we want to talk about what is the way that you really look at the man. Let me see if I can get this down. I got it wrong. So let me put it in this place. Amnam kabli ki eda. So you have to know this. Ki mechus, that is the image of a man, atzmo, uha ruchnius asher besoch gufa. So let's say this mechus, that is the being of the person. The person's being is not his body. The person's being is the ruchnius that's inside of the body. So the body itself is only a clothing for that man. But that's not the man. Even though we look at people, we see their faces and their hair and da. But nonetheless, it's the ruach that's inside of them. That's really what makes the person. Like the pasuk says, "Al basar adam," on the flesh of man, lo yasich. Don't pour onto that. Min Hashem and the mishka. That is, don't pour the anointing oil on the body. Lo kasev ala adam v'lo yasich stam. It doesn't say just don't pour it on a man. It says don't pour it on the body. The Horos teaches what? Neshama nikras adam, because the inside of the person, and neshama also is a general word that means the spiritual inside of some period. V'haguf nikra b'shem ha'adam. So he said, what? Let's read again. Neshama nikras adam. The neshama is nikras adam, and the guf is called the flesh of the man. In other words, the covering of the man, the covering that covers his ruchnius. This is mentioned in Zohar and Parshas Bereshis. Ki ra'ov, which means a famine. He says, or habasar talbisheni. It said he says that cover me with skin and flesh. He says pirush. Ki basar adam, the flesh of a man, who rak levush shalom neshama, is only a clothing for the person's soul. V'haneshama nikras adam he bifnim, and the neshama is inside of all of the different organs, all of the different cells, the molecules. It's inside of all of them, and the body is built around them. Let's do a little bit more. It's a v'noida. It's not like this. Ki adam. By doing good deeds, this man, which he says what? The basar of the man, the flesh of the man, with the neshama inside of it. He said, if he does good deeds, mekasher or mesaken, he is able to tie together. In other words, disparate parts, because we're in a world where nothing goes together easily. The mekasher mesaken kol arba balomos, he's able to fix and be able to tie together, rebuild all of the four alomos, which once again, which are Atzilus, which is the highest of the worlds. Then Bria, which is next to, it's the world of the omnipresent. Bria, and Yetzira and Asiya. So therefore, out of necessity. That he has to have parts, different parts within him that are spiritual. We call the arba alomos of all of those four alomos, and that's what he said before. We have to understand what it means by these four alomos. It means that like this: everything is the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Inside, around, up above, whatever ununderstandable is the Kodesh Baruch Hu. These different filters or masks or clothings, which are called the worlds, and the word for world in Hebrew is the word olam, which means hidden. So when we say the master of the universe, we're really saying master of the hidden. And that's what we're looking at here. These are things which are inside, these ha'arba olamos. One, the first hiddenness is called the olam of Etzilus, which is right next to the omnipresent Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Beyond that, it's very difficult for us to understand. Then is the world of Bria, which is more physical and has more problems. And then the world of Asira, which is more physical than that, has more problems with it. And then the final world of Asiya, where we live, which is very problematic. So it's all of the different parts of them are called by one name. Am I in the right place, or I skipped? Yeah, I'm right. B'shem echad min chamisha shemos aniskarim. So all of the different parts, we explained a little bit more, are going to be one of those names which we mentioned before, and he's going to say it. Shehem nefesh ruach neshama chayin yechida. All of the parts use this name. So you could have, perhaps he's going to explain it, but in the nefesh it's going to have a nefesh, a ruach, neshama, nechaya, and yechida of the nefesh. Of the ruach is going to have a nefesh, a ruach, a chaya, a neshama, a chaya, yechida of that. So like that, going like that, it all breaks down into the same name. Look, Amon, as later on he says, V'gam nekroim b'shem Erik Anpin, there also have other names. These are names of Erik Anpin, which Erik Anpin refers to the Olam of Atzilus. Abba, which is the Olam of Chachma, and then Ima, which is Bina, and Zer Anpin, which is the male force, and Malchus, the female force. The Hainachedek Nefesh Kulam Malchus, because the Nefesh really is a part of Malchus. In other words, everything refines after Malchus. V'cheilach ha-ruach hu mezer anpen, leilach ha-ruach comes from zer anpen. Cheilach ha-neshama, it comes from Ima, which is Bina. Cheilach ha-chaya, who comes from Abba, which is Chachma. And Yechida comes from Erik Anpen. And these are all parts of a human being. This is Baruch Fleischman, and this is the Tikkun Elevator Kola. This is Shaar number 2 in Shaar Hagilgulim.